It was hilarious watching Joe Rogan realize his friend is actually an absolute fraud mid-interview. The story of Cash Patel actually isn't a new one. We've been watching the system create different Cash Patels out of a lot of people, but this situation is particularly hilarious because we've watched Cash Patel for the latter part of the last year or two do this whole media tour about how he's different, how he's a revolutionary, how when he becomes the FBI director, day one, things are gonna change. And just watching somebody go on that campaign, pretend like they're about to be a revolutionary, they're about to change the system. And then we watch in real time when they finally get the position they've been campaigning for, when they finally get the position they claim they're about to make a difference in, to just watch them slowly turn into the very same person they've been critiquing for the last year and a half. It's hilarious. And it also goes to show, bruh, nobody is above the selling out point, bruh, that everybody has a price. Like, it was super easy for Cash to go on these podcasts before he was in any type of real position of power and bloviate hot air and call out the government and call out the FBI directors and call out the CIA for not doing enough, for being transparent or withholding information.
Election year. These people in Congress need to hold the CIA, the NRA, the librarians, and the DOJ accountable. And they're just not doing it. You know, it's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, you know, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if you release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word, or whoever that guy is, as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released?
Speaking like a man with common sense. Obviously, if the list is there and they have access to it and they are not releasing it, it's because the people who really matter, the people with the billions of dollars with the real influence and the real power, they're pushing for this list not to come out because they're going to get exposed as well. Cash is speaking like the common man. You see, a lot of these people got a lot of common sense and they're really smart before they get in a position of power, before they get in the system, before they start working for the machine. And then all of a sudden, their common sense and brains go away. And it almost happens like clockwork. Cash was even calling for, you know, the FBI director or any type of government personnel who got perks like a private jet. If they don't release the Epstein list, their private jet should be taken away. Their amenities should be taken away until that list come out, because they have a duty to the American people to release it. He was cooking with grease.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the are. We have an election coming up, and we need to adjudicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything. But how are you going to reward the FBI with a new headquarters building after their illegal surveillance on Donald Trump continues with a reauthorization of FISA, and we can't even get basic documents out? This is why America hates Congress. And this is why I'm tired of the Republican majority saying they're going to get the job done and failing.
So are you, like, in closing here, I want to just be very clear. Republicans could get Epstein's list out now? Like, how would that process work?
Simple. One subpoena to the FBI. Give me the list. Oh, you don't want to give me the list and you're going to break the law and commit contempt of Congress? We're going to take your money. We're going to take Chris Wray's private jet. Taxpayer-funded G5 rides across the country to his Appalachian State vacation home, down to Georgia, and all over the rest of the place. That guy doesn't need a G5 government-funded jet. And the second you take that money, you get Epstein's list.
It's also simple. So Joe Rogan, like the rest of us, have the same questions. If you got all the solutions, or if you had all the solutions before you got in power, why is it now impossible for you to execute how you were saying you wanted to execute, how you were saying was simple to execute? Why is it now you're repeating the same patterns of the people that you were criticizing? It doesn't make sense. So Joe attempted to kind of dive deep into why this Epstein list isn't coming out. And it's the reason why it's not coming out connected with Epstein's death. Was he murder or did he do it to himself? Now, before Cash got into office, or before Cash became the FBI director, Cash was calling Epstein's death very suspicious. Cash was saying he sees it almost impossible for Epstein to have done it to himself.
Who killed Jeffrey Epstein? How about that? Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? Who killed Jeffrey Epstein? How about that?
Let me talk about, so I've spent a lot of time in federal detention facilities as a public defender before, talking to my clients, so I kind of know how those work. He was in isolation. He was in a unit where he's in there not just to protect himself, but he's in there to protect the rest of the prison population because he was such a high profile case. What happens is in these units, there's supposed to be 24/7 guard duty on him directly. And from what I was able to learn in this, in the lead up to his is the guard fell asleep. Now, I don't really buy that, but it's almost impossible to prove otherwise unless you can obtain the videotape. And usually there isn't video looking into people's cells for a lot of reasons. And so we're stuck with that narrative. And do you know what happened to these guards? Supposedly they were going to get charged, but I've never heard anything that happened to these prison guards. Maybe we should try to find them and let's talk to them.
Yeah, it's like the Andy Griffith thing, right? He falls asleep with his feet up on the desk, and then the key, you remember they reach around and they grab the keys and they make their way out of the jail so they can go back to the saloon. I mean, it seems really ridiculous to me that the media wants us to believe that this is actually what happened.
Joe Rogan is well aware of Kash Patel's stances before he became the FBI director, because Joe Rogan and Kash Patel has had numerous conversations about these things. So when Kash Patel hops on Joe Rogan and he starts denying and lying about ever having these opinions, about ever being this conspiracy theorist who believe that somebody murdered Epstein, Joe is looking like, bruh, like, yeah, you are a complete fraud. Like, what do you mean you've never believed like the conspiracy involving Epstein? You are one of the spreaders of this conspiracy.
I've said it. Dan Bongino said it. We've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed him. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on? But the problem is there's been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist. Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you if it existed? I'm working my ass off along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ to get you what we're allowed to give you. And you're going to get the video of the cell and you're going to see for yourself. And we will never be able to convince everyone.
Okay, let's get into that. So what did you think before you got in office? Did you think that Epstein was murdered?
No.
No suspicion at all of it?
But I have a different background, right? Yeah. So I agree with you. This doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a suit. But is this Justice Department going to investigate it? Probably not.
So this man is beyond compromise. I don't even think Joe is shocked, to be honest, bro, because if he didn't become compromised, if he didn't sell out, that would be the more surprising thing. For anybody to get in that position as the FBI director, you probably got Bill Gates knocking down your door. You probably got a couple billionaires knocking down your door, bro, willing to give you whatever you want. Whatever you want. You want $1 billion here, bro. It's your whatever you want to make sure that list don't come out, to make sure that their involvement don't get released, because they know, bruh, the minute that comes out, bruh, like your family legacy, your legacy would never be the same again. It's over with. So of course he's compromised, bruh. Of course he's lying. Right? Of course you believed otherwise before you got in office. Now, is there room to say, okay, he got in a position of power and he reviewed everything and he realized that he was wrong? Cool, then say that. Say, yo, I believe this. I got in the office as the FBI director. I was wrong. But it's hard to say that when you admitted on a Joe Rogan podcast that you didn't even view all the evidence for the other theory. So you essentially believed one thing, got in office, viewed only, the quote unquote material that supports the other side of the aisle, that Jeffrey Epstein did this to himself, and then you admit you haven't reviewed any of the material that would say otherwise.
Did you ever see? Do you remember that HBO autopsy show? Dr. Michael Baden. He's a famous forensic
I don't think I've seen
scientist. So he's a pathologist, and he reviewed the case, and it was his determination that it was a homicide because of the way his neck was broken. And what he said was it was indicative of a ligature strangulation. And it was because of the positioning on the neck where the marks were, that it wasn't indicative of someone hanging by their weight, which had been higher on the chin. And there's a specific break of the bones and the vertebrae that's consistent with someone who is just strangled to death.
I haven't seen it. I'll definitely take a look at it because that's part of my job.
You haven't seen that?
The report on
Yeah.
that? No, I haven't looked at that.
The old Kash Patel will reviewed all the materials, even if that material is supporting a theory that you don't believe in. Even if that material is supporting an alternative theory that proves that Jeffrey Epstein didn't do this to himself, he would have looked at it because his only objective was the truth. Right now, when you're in that position, your objective is to serve the people above you. So when Elon Musk comes out and said, hey, bruh, the only reason those Epstein files out right now is because Donald Trump is in those files, and we look at Kash Patel and we're like, oh, hold on. Is that why the file's not out yet? Is that why you claim on day one you're releasing the files, you're releasing those evidence, but it's not out yet? Is that why?
This is going to come up because it's been going on since we've been recording here. Elon and Trump seem to be in a bit of a spat, Joe. You want to check the tweet that Elon just put out a little bit ago?
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ.
I'm not participating in any of that conversation
What
between
is he?
Elon
Have a
and Trump.
nice day, DJT. Someone should take his phone away.
They're going back and forth about different things. And
Yeah. Listen,
Well, he said he was disappointed in Elon.
yeah,
Yeah.
they told him to leave.
Jesus Christ, that's a crazy thing to say. How does he know? Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? Or does he have access to the Epstein files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump Elon thing. That's way outside
What
my
the
lane.
fuck are they
That's,
doing?
I know my lane, and that ain't it.
I just don't. I mean, I understand he owns Twitter. I think it's bad for your mental health. I think posting things public all day and arguing with people all day is bad for you.
Well, you raise a great point. Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Half of what we have to respond to is the click army on social media.
That's literally your job, though. You promise people will have transparency when it comes to this Epstein list. If somebody like Elon Musk, who is the world's richest man, somebody who was directly in Trump's, I guess, cabinet, even though he wasn't officially part of Trump's cabinet, if somebody who had official government duties is coming out and saying, yo, I'm aware of the list, Trump is a part of it, that's why it's not coming out yet, and you're on a podcast to explain why the list hasn't come out yet, then don't you think it is your duty, it is within your power to speak on why the list hasn't come out yet and if Trump's name is on that list? Yo, this is not the same Kash Patel, bro. The Kash Patel before he became FBI director would have given it up. He would have given it up, bro. He would have at least cared about his own integrity and how people is viewing him. But right now, it don't seem like that's his objective. It don't even seem like the truth is his objective. It feels like Kash Patel underwent like the transition that a lot of people do. Before they get in office, they care about change. They're revolutionaries. They care about the people. They want to make a difference. When they get in office, they realize, right, making a difference ain't really worth what being complicit is worth, bruh. Being complicit and sitting in this position of power for 20, 30 years will make you millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, and it will grant you a lot of power. Trying to be a revolutionary in this position of power will get you like a quick exit. Once you're out of that position of power, those people that you came after, they're going to come after you and destroy your life. It's just that this time around, when they come after you, they got the billions of dollars and you don't even got a title no more. And that's what you have to deal with. That's what you really have to realize, man. Right? Being a revolutionary ain't sweet at all. It's not sweet, man, at all. And with Kash Patel I feel like the least you could do is just be quiet. Don't do interviews, bro. Don't ruin your integrity by lying to the people, man. All right, you should dodge all media. Because when Kash Patel tells us, I mean, don't you think that I would release it if there was something really happening on those islands or people to prosecute, don't you think I would prosecute them? And then you hear the attorney general, right? And she says, yo, we got thousands and tens of thousands of video footage of victims being victimized.
Nothing in there, like in the video. You guys would be bored.
You talking about the video of the murder or the suicide?
The suicide.
But what about the video from the island?
Oh, sorry. So you're talking about two different
Yes.
things. So
sorry.
So again, we're going to give you everything we can, and people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize women. We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening, because then he wins. Not doing it. You want to hate me for it? Fine. Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
If you have access to it.
If I have it. Period.
Right.
If I have it.
So
where else would it be?
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So far.
Everything we have so far is
have
the
you guys
No, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child, and there are hundreds of victims, and no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
There are tools like blurring the images, blurring the videos, blurring their face. Bro, there's so many ways that you could really protect the victims without not protecting the perpetrators, right? Like, you're doing this to protect the perpetrators, not the victims. And when you say, yo, there's no evidence of a crime that was committed on the island, as if like Ghislaine Maxwell isn't currently in prison on felony charges for committing crimes on that island. So if there's no footage, then what is she in jail for? Yo, I hope y'all stop putting your faith in these people, bruh. Listen, man, at the end of the day, bruh, I'm just a commentator. All right. Cash Patel was just like a former lawyer who became like a commentator. He talked a good enough game to where Trump took notice, and Trump made this dude the FBI director, bruh. And now that good game he talked, he can't back it up, bruh. He's in office compromising, bending over, giving up butt. So y'all let me know in the comment section, man. What do you guys think about this? Okay, y'all think Cash Patel is hiding something? Let me know. And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen. Somewhere here on my screen to find out the more bad news for Drake. You don't want to miss this new Drake scandal. I'm going to see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.